All right, welcome everybody to another product spotlight, and we have an awesome show for you today. So we are looking forward to some breaking news with Jim Gabriel from Modlogiq. Now, if you don't know Jim Gabriel from Modlogiq, you will soon, because we're going to have him come on the show and tell us what his breaking news is. Jim has been in this industry for a long time, and you might remember during COVID, we did a hospital set with Jim Gabriel and the Modlogiq team in West Islip, New York. And guess what? It also won one of the events of the years at the World of Modular this past year. So a lot of great things. They're an award-winning company, and you're going to love this news with a great guy. I call him the Dr. Gabriel, even though he's not a doctor. Okay, on top of that, we are going to get to our regular programming with Stream Logistics, construction logistics with Carson Holmquist, who is the co-founder and CEO of Stream Logistics. Construction is in the midst of radical innovation. Can traditional logistics solutions keep up? Offsite construction has changed the way product needs to be transported, stored, and received. It has redefined the concept of high-stakes freight. Unlike routine freight, high-stakes freight is any type of freight where there's a lot on the line. And we all know in offsite construction, time is everything, and that's what makes us better than the rest that's out there. So, but we can't do all of this without our sponsors. So I want to say thank you to Forward Solutions Group, Ben Hershey and Joe Butler. They are a team with more than 175 years of experience developing and specifying manufacturing for panelized and volumetric modular industries with best practices in development and implementation. They offer consulting with investors, developers, manufacturers, and builders in using offsite manufacturing methods. Forward is driving companies to succeed where others have failed. For more information, please reach out to Ben Hershey at ben@forwardsolutionsgroup.com. All right, and thank you to Howick. Howick is a pioneer in the technology of precision light steel roll forming machines. For over 40 years, their commitment to innovation in cold form steel, also known as light gauge steel, precision manufacturing, uncompromising quality, and exemplary customer service have defined the Howick way. Their commitment underpins the competitive advantage enjoyed by their customers. To learn more, visit their website at Howick Ltd. All right, so without further ado, let's bring in the good Jim Gabriel to the show. Jim, how are you today, my friend?
I'm awesome, Dave. Thanks for having me on.
I think you're up there. I have a couple people that I've said are some of the most interesting men in the world, right? Like the Dos Equis commercial. They're gonna have to make a Dos Equis commercial on you after some time here. Listen, you're doing amazing things, and recently it even got more amazing because you have some big news. And why don't you tell everybody a little bit about what's going on and why this is big news, not only for you, but I think it's big news for the industry to have a leader like you moving up in the world.
Yeah, no, I appreciate it. I mean, it's been something that has been in the works. Bob McNeil and his brother Craig and I have been working on this for some time, and getting through all the details is the technical details, the legal details is one thing, but really setting the stage for what I consider Modlogiq 3.0 at the when we changed from NRB to Modlogiq. I consider that 1.0. We're really using this as a launch point. But at the end of August, became official. I took over as owner of Modlogiq, president, CEO, and primary guarantor, personal guarantor. So it's a big long title, but I'm excited about it. This is a business, an industry I love, a company that I've known for 25 years, and I'm honored and grateful to lead it.
Yeah, and I think what's really important to everybody that's out there, Jim, you've been part of NRB and Modlogiq now, which is the newer name, for a long time, and you've already been running this entire operation. So the ownership part's more of a paperwork thing than a logistic thing within the company. So we're going to expect the same quality and great service that you guys have been delivering on for a long time now.
Yeah, I mean, I have to to the McNeil family, Bob and Craig, these guys are not only MBI Hall of Famers, these guys would be in my human Hall of Fame. And I'm not kidding about that at all. I mean, they're just great people, the family. And Bob has really given not just me, but this team the confidence and the trust and the ability to run the business. I mean, when they had sold NRB and Grimsby, and they had been, certainly connected and have supported it financially and in many other ways, but they really left it to this team here to continue to run it and grow it. And so not much is going to change in that way. It is somewhat, symbolic in a way, but there's some things that we're going to do as we use NRB. NRB is always part of our DNA. We're going to use it as a leverage point and a launch point moving forward. And we've got some really, really cool things. It's been interesting things that we're excited about, and candidly, I think you're going to have a positive impact on our business, but also in the industry itself.
Yeah. Well, we love breaking news on this show, Jim, and I think this is big news. Just so everybody's out there, because we have a larger audience, I think, than the last time you've been on. Why don't you tell everybody what Modlogiq does and like kind of where your sweet spot is, and maybe talk about some of the projects you're currently working on or a past project,
Sure.
And then we'll go from there.
Yeah, and I think the unique thing about us that is different than most. I mean, we're an offsite construction manufacturing company. We've got a build together process. So rather than an assembly line, which lends itself to a lot of different types of applications, ours are typically more complex in the interior and exterior finishes and mechanical, electrical, plumbing. So we've got a build together process. We take steel frame modules and we literally connect those together on our shop floor, on our property. It's designed to accommodate that, and becomes a conventional project in the execution, and we literally dismantle that building and ship it to site. So those of you who know challenges that you have in logistics, which you're going to find out about, but also about those connection points, bringing that building together, the work that you can't do on the manufacturing plant as that assembly line is moving. Those complex things we can do, and that's why it lends itself to more of the complex builds. Hospitals, healthcare applications, laboratories, very complex builds. We've got a building that we're getting ready to deliver to Blue Springs. It's a prototype for Chase Bank, which is literally ready to deliver in the next few days. We've got a 65,000 square foot elementary school that we've been working on for some time that is literally ready to ship starting Friday, headed down just south of DC. We just finished a medical office building / a lecture facility for University of Maryland at Baltimore with Whiting Turner and Gilbert Architects as a design build type application. So those are the kinds of things that we typically build. They're more complex.
Well, hey, listen, and if you go to their website too, they won Best in Show at World of Modular this year with the hospital set. And I have to tell you, that's the first job I have ever been on that was so complex and was finished in 11 weeks, seeing patients in the height of COVID. This was in the beginning, or right after it started. So Jim, you guys are doing amazing things, and the way you go about your process and the precision that you employ, and the trades as well as the team within your company are I mean, they're all rock stars, superstars, and I'd put them against the best anytime.
Well, and I appreciate that, Dave. Again, we do some unique things, but people don't know about it unless guys like you are telling that story, and we appreciate that, right? It's not just what we do here; it's what it means to our clients. It's what it means to the communities that where those facilities are being set, and that's a part of the story that doesn't always get told. And we had a unique opportunity to meet in Long Island, to have you there to tell that story, and I can't emphasize enough how important it is. Thank you enough, you and your team. And the good work that you're doing, not just for us, but for the industry, right? Those stories, you constantly see the stories that are negative, and those are, always, we hate to see those, but guys like you telling good stories, I think is what's going to help move this industry forward.
Well, I appreciate that. Thank you very much. And we're going to keep telling those stories. We're going to keep telling your stories and others as we keep bringing more innovation into what we're doing. Just like our next guest, who would have thought logistics could change? Who would have thought data could be used to speed up your project, save you money, take some stress off while you're sitting in Tahiti and watching your job happen the way it should happen? That's what we're going to be talking about next, Jim. You'll probably enjoy watching some of this show today.
No, I agree. I think those are, every project is unique. Logistics is one of the things that really, on the execution side is really what can make or break a project.
That's right. So, I agree.
Awesome.
All right, Jim. So I have it out here. Everybody can go and find Jim and Modlogiq right there at the website in the ticker below. Reach out on LinkedIn. Jim is active on LinkedIn as well, as so is his team. So, Jim, we appreciate you coming on the show today and announcing what you have going on. Congratulations. I look forward to buying you a cocktail one of these days soon and talking shop. It's always a pleasure.
I'm going to take you up on that. I'm going to take you up on that. Thanks, Dave. Thanks, Jen.
Yep, she's in the background. All right, everybody. Thank you, Jim. All right, Jim, we're going to see you soon, but I got to kick you out now because we're going to get on now with Carson Holmquist. Have a wonderful afternoon, Jim.
Thanks, Dave.
Bye. All right, now we're going to bring in Carson Holmquist. We're going to talk about Stream Logistics and how is logistics changing the way we deliver your high-stake offsite projects. So without further ado, let's bring in Carson. Carson, how are you?
Good. How you doing, Dave?
Man, I'm doing great. How cool is Jim Gabriel, huh?
Oh, he's the best. Yeah. Modlogiq, very innovative company like a lot of others in the industry, but it's exciting news. Congrats, Jim.
That's exactly right. There's a lot of great companies out there doing amazing things. And this is why it's so important to share your story, because this is one of the things a lot of people don't think that there's new ways of doing it. Do not think that there's new ways of thinking differently in the logistics and trucking world. But there is. I mean, you got some young blood that has come in on your team and said, there's got to be a better way to do this. There's got to be a better way to help return, ROI on people's projects. And there's got to be a way to do it to where people feel comfortable and they know it's going to happen. And you guys are the solution to this. Yes?
Yeah, we'd like to think so. I mean, we're working hard to create the solutions, but as a logistics company, we've taken a different path than most, and we do serve that category, which we call high stakes freight. And that's shipments that have to go right, and the consequences for failure are really high, and that perfectly explains the offsite industry.
Well, I love it. So, Carson, we are live on LinkedIn, YouTube, and Facebook. Can't forget Twitch. Carson, you know why we're live on Twitch?
For the younger generation, right?
Man, you've been watching the show. That's right. They're not coming to us, so we are going to them. They have been using AR and VR, and they've been building things on the World Wide Web long before we ever have. So, and as we always do, please hit that like and share button. And if you are not subscribed to our YouTube channel, please go there and subscribe after the show. Thank you. All right, Carson, we ask everybody in this show, we want to know everything about them from the moment they were born to this very moment in time. Do not leave out any of the good stuff, or we will call your mother, and that won't be good. All right, Carson, you only have 2 minutes to do it, so go for it.
All right. I was born and raised in a small town in Arizona. It's called Kingman, Arizona, and always had an interest in solving problems. I was raised by an entrepreneur. My dad always had his own business, so it was always appealing to me to one day find something that I was passionate about, dive in deep, create a business around it, and hopefully solve some problems that are important. It can really move the needle. And we found that at Stream Logistics. I met my business partner probably almost 10 years ago now. And we formed Stream Logistics in 2012. And it's been a fun ride ever since and continues to evolve. But our main goal has never changed, which is inject more creativity and quality into this industry and find people who really need those solutions. And we've applied all that energy to the offsite construction industry.
Yeah, and this is what it's all about, everyone, right? We can't keep doing things the way we've been doing it. We need to be always looking forward and doing it better. We're tired of being in last place when it comes to moving an industry forward. Technology, last place. We don't need to be there. That's why young people aren't coming to our business and not coming into our industry. All right, so Carson, let's talk about this, right? So on the surface, you're still a trucking company. You're still moving goods, right, in logistics. What makes you different? So tell us a little bit about Stream Logistics. What makes you different? And I want to know why you're doing it. Where'd the passion come from? Who wakes up and just says, hey, I'm going to change the trucking industry for the offsite world? Like, who wakes up and says that? Carson Holmquist, I suppose.
Well, I mean, to be truthful, it's an evolution. We wanted to continue to make a company that's based off of quality, and not every shipper needs quality. There's a category which we call routine freight. That's more inventory freight, where it's dock to dock and timelines aren't as tight. There's not as much pressure on impeccability. So those clients don't need what we do, because we want to be the best and we want to challenge ourselves every day and evolve. And we found that this industry in particular, that's growing really quickly, it's faced with a ton of complexity, can leverage our capabilities to make themselves better. That's why we're in the industry. But it all starts with a different philosophy, which is our commitment to high stakes freight, which means we're not trying to be a jack of all trades. We're trying to be a master of one, which is offsite construction. So every day we're coming in with the lens of looking at the industry. How can we do it better? How can we increase our understanding to figure out where are the risks? Where can our clients leverage their capabilities even better? And then we build plans around that philosophy, and we get to iterate every single day because we're doing projects all the time, which gives us an opportunity to try new things to make the projects go even smoother. Sometimes they work out really well, and those get incorporated into every future project. So we just continue that flywheel and get better and better. Sometimes our strategies don't land as well as we think, and we get to discard them in the future. So we're constantly learning, and that density of repetition is just unparalleled because we've made that commitment. So it all starts with the philosophy that we've committed to.
Right. So those of us that are already in offsite construction, already in manufacturing, already shipping, why do I stop my busy day to think about something that I think's working fairly well the way it is and speak to Carson about it?
Anything can always be done better, right? I think that was an old Henry Ford quote. He said, everything can be done better than it's being done, right? So we believe that here at our company, but also we challenge any of the viewers to think about it that way too, because we're constantly getting better, and we're better today than we were a year from now. And they could be in the same position if they fast forward, because we are solving these challenges and we're solving them at a very quick pace. So we've seen all sorts of types of projects. We've put in solutions that are really creative with drop trailers and pool trailers and setting up staging yards for our clients. And we'll get into some more of the details, but you'll see that everything we do is centered around solving these problems. So we start stacking up innovation that creates a whole bunch of different solutions that end up giving our clients a whole new capability. Rather than just paying for getting their freight from point A to point B, they develop a new capability that helps them be a better company in the future.
Well, and that's it. And we hear this a lot in the industry. I'm sitting here making a little tag for you, right? It's probably misspelled and everything else, but we're going to put it up there anyhow. But that's how we've always did it, right? Or done it, I should have said. But we hear that a lot in our industry, and that's why we're in last place. We think this way a lot. All right, so, okay, we need to think of it differently. We can move it forward differently. Let's talk about how the process works. Let's talk about when I call you, I say, Carson, I have a job. I like you. You seem like a smart young man that's out there. You guys are doing some big jobs. And by the way, we're going to show you some of the big jobs they're doing, and we're going to show you some videos. So we have a presentation. Walk me through the Stream Logistics process if I'm going to try you out so we can get a really good understanding of how this is going to work.
Yeah. So first thing we have to do is understand the nature of the project. We need to get all the details we can so we can make a bulletproof plan to make sure that the project goes smoothly. So we gather the details from the manufacturing team. If we can speak to the general contractor, the foreman on site, that's helpful as well. Once we gather those details, then we're going to put together what we call a digital proposal. We'll go over one of those later in the show. And that digital proposal is a culmination of all the details we put together, the plan we put in place, how communication is going to flow, and a bunch of other creative details that help make our clients or our potential clients confident that our plan is going to work. These are plans that are built off of experience that we have a lot of confidence in, but we have to transfer that confidence to our clients as well. We do that through the digital proposal. But to make it even more concrete, a good example of something unique we do after the project is committed to us, first thing we want to do before any trucks pick up is fly to the job site. We want to get our boots on the ground and we want to see the job site for ourselves. So we'll fly our project manager and our videographer out to the job site to go shake hands with the foreman. We want to build that relationship since we're going to be working closely with that foreman for months. And so we're going to build that relationship. We're going to show our commitment to making sure this project goes off without a hitch. So we want to get in front of them. What we also do on site while we're there is we walk the property. We walk the job site and we look for proper ingress and egress for our drivers, because most of these trucks have over-dimensional freight on them. These big panels or modular units that we're moving a lot of times are over width or over height. And we got to look for proper turning radiuses for the drivers to pull in. We got to look for any obstructions in their way. We got to make sure we know where the crane pick point is. And then we got to make sure they can safely exit. So in fact, last year I went to a job site in Tampa with some of our team members. We did a site survey and we saw all sorts of challenges we had to solve before trucks started arriving. There was portable restrooms in the way, right where they wanted the trucks to pull in. There was inventory being stored. There were a few PVC pipes sticking out of the ground for utility they had to cut off and cap. And there was even a fire hydrant near the exit where the driver was going to pull out, which would have been easy to clip as he starts turning his radius since it wasn't marked very well. So we got that all sorted out so that on day one, when the truck started delivering, the driver has a great experience, the foreman has a great experience, and there's way more efficiency. But that commitment to getting out to the job site is the only way we learn those things. There's no replacement for that. So that's
and do you find that a lot of people in the industry just ship and they do not go and do the planning and the logistical look, flyovers, or is that typically done by the project managers on these sites versus somebody who is an expert at this?
I've never heard of a logistics company doing that. So yeah, the norm is that that's not done, and they rely on information being passed, which can be accurate, but it's not always accurate. And another benefit is we'll take our videographers there, take some footage. It really helps with instructions for our driver, but we also fly a drone over the site, and we're looking to give our drivers as much visibility and access as possible. And we'll even walk the route that goes into the property to make sure there's no road closures, any low-hanging trees, or any obstructions, so that the route off the highway that we plan for the driver is the actual route they're going to end up taking. So there's no further delay. So we use that drone footage, which we'll see a little bit later, and we overlay it with instructions. So when that driver comes to pull in for the first time to the job site, they see exactly what they're going to be doing. And again, that just makes sure that we're on time, make sure that everyone's organized, and it lends itself to a smooth project down the road. If we get off to a good start, the chances the project's going to go smoothly is really high, because the first third of the project is when all the challenges happen. The first third is when manufacturing delays occur, or the job site isn't as familiar with the process yet, and they're just working out the kinks for installation. And so we have to do whatever we can to mitigate risks in that first third. And a lot of these strategies are designed to do just that.
So the driver gets a 3D visual with the drone footage where they're pulling up onto the site before they get to the site, and that's what, text to their phone or to their GPS system. How does that work?
Yep. So it's emailed to the carrier itself or the dispatchers. And then we have multiple drivers on the project. So then it's disseminated to every single driver. So the driver gets to see the video. So when they're pulling up, they know exactly what to do. It also gives them confidence that we know what we're doing, because these projects are very complex. And so some drivers don't want to do it because most of the time when they get handed complex projects, there's not enough foresight that happens, and the drivers end up having to wait, or there's confusion, so it gives them confidence we know what we're doing, and so they're more excited about taking the project, and we get better performance because of it.
Sure. All right. So now you're out there, you're flying drones, you're taking video, you're walking the site, you're looking at hiccups. Are you coordinating with the crane company and the crane operators on staging, and how do you know during this process, what part of the building is going to happen first?
So we have collaboration with the manufacturer, obviously. So we know the game plan, but also so does the foreman. The foreman really runs the show. So when we're walking through the job site, they tell us, here's where we can pick, here's where we can't pick, here's our restraints, here's where we're planning to do it. If there's any suggestions we have, we've always found them to be very cooperative. But sometimes there's constraints they can't work around. So then we just, we have to make it happen. And that's why it's so important being on the ground, because then that project manager who is on the ground is the one scheduling the trucks, is the one who's communicating day in, day out. They've seen it, they can visualize it. And so communication just flows so much smoother because of that investment.
Sure. All right, listen, if you're just joining us, Carson Holmquist, Stream Logistics, we are changing the way that we deliver product. So we're just getting into this. We haven't even gotten into all the visual tools that you, of the owner of a manufacturing facility or a product facility, gets to use. So we're just in the beginning stages of walking through the site and understanding what the logistics are from a bird's eye view. Now take us through the rest of the process.
So the rest of the process is when the shipping begins. Right? That's when all the work that we put into it culminates into action. And so what we want to do on those first few days of pickup at the manufacturer, these are our clients, we send out the same project manager to be there on site as those first drivers are pulling in. We want to make sure communication flows nicely. We want to be there to help with any type of assistance, but also we just want to have a good visual of how these things are loaded, what's the pace, how can we make things more efficient. That way we can communicate best practices for the drivers as they're coming in throughout the rest of the project. But really, we're there just to show that, hey, our commitment's here. If you need any help, we're there. So all that work up until that point really helps lend itself to a smooth project down the road. But then there's always a need for adaptability because we know things change, especially in that first third of the project.
Right, right. So walk us through that, right? So here we're on site, we're on the project, we're doing our collaboration with the manufacturer, distributor of the process. What can I expect from you at this point? So you went out, you did this whole survey of the site and the route that the trucks need to travel to the site. You did the drones, you did the planning. Now I'm sitting, 500 miles away in my office, wondering what Carson's up to. What do I get next, Carson?
So all of our planning goes into, now it's disseminated to drivers, scheduling trucks to arrive at the time they're supposed to arrive with the proper equipment, meaning the proper trailer type, but also the proper straps and tarps, whatever's required for the project. And then our job from there on out is being the control center for all the communication. We're making sure any changes from the manufacturer gets relayed to the drivers, which then get relayed to the foreman or the team on site. Or a lot of times we get proactive changes requested from the job site, and we're the first ones notified, and then we relay that down to at the manufacturer level. And so our job at that point is making sure everyone's aware of where the trucks are. Every truck is tracked with real-time GPS with location updates, updating every 10 to 30 minutes. So they get full visibility during transit. They get visibility to a project portal, which we'll look at later as well, which is a consolidated view of how the project's going. And then we're there to be adaptive. That's really our role because things change in construction. We all know it. No matter how good the plan is, there's going to be needs for change. Even something as simple as high winds at the construction site can shut down a crane for a day or two, and we got to adapt.
Right.
So our job at that point is to keep an eye on everything. And as soon as there's a need for a change, we coordinate all those changes to make sure at the end of the day, our goal is to make sure a job site never slows or shuts down due to transportation. And that's on us.
I love it.
Yeah.
That's on you.
It's on us. We take that full responsibility. That is not the job of a project manager. We find a lot of the prospects we talk to, the project manager assumes a lot of that responsibility. They carry a lot of that burden and weight, and they think they got to be the coordinators, but that just means they're not getting the right help.
Sure. All right, so you guys are ensuring project success, right? At least on that portion of the job. Let's talk about more of the visual, right? The digital proposal. Yes. Walk me through this digital proposal. We can either do it with your presentation or we can talk about it and then go to the presentation. It's up to you.
Let's jump in. Let's jump in the presentation.
All right.
Okay, so what we're looking at is a digital proposal. So this is the deliverable we're going to send after we talk about the details, after we design our plan, but before the project starts. So this is us obviously trying to win the business, but we're trying to communicate, we're trying to transfer that confidence we have in ourselves to our clients. So this is the culmination of a lot of work. This is an actual project we anonymized it for a few reasons. Big corporations are involved and hard to get some permissions, but anyone who recognizes that shape in the building might be able to guess what that entertainment venue is. This particular project, we did some prefabricated, very specialized structural steel for this dome shape. Our client is based in Phoenix. This is delivering to Vegas. We did over 330 truckloads without a single late delivery. This is more about the pre-phase of this project.
So 330 truckloads and no delays.
No
outside
delays.
of a traffic jam.
And well, not even traffic jam. So we build in what we call transit buffer. So we don't want, if we know it's a 1-day transit, we don't want to plan for 1 day. There's no room for error there. So we'll plan for maybe a 36 or 40-hour delivery schedule, meaning the driver is going to arrive early and be patient and wait. And we've designed that into the plan, but it allows for any type of flexibility during transit when needed. So no, we don't want to rely on chance and luck as much as we can. Certainly things still happen. We're never promising perfection. Sometimes it occurs, but we will be on top of any challenge that occurs, and we will be on the phone making sure we're communicating, but also putting things in place to resolve it.
Got it. Perfect.
So what you'll get, why Stream Logistics? We've already talked about this, but this is us communicating, hey, why we think we're going to be the best fit for this project. We include a little video of maybe some relevant expertise, and we'll also an introduction to some critical team members that maybe our potential client hasn't got to meet yet. So this is really important here. So this is the project management and execution. So this is how we're going to execute the project. This page here. So this is the game plan. This one happened to be relatively simple, but there's other ones where we talk about staged trailers or we talk about trailer pools, and there's a lot more complexity that we've seen. But let's take a look at this video, Dave. This is one of those drone footage videos showing a driver where they need to access a job site. This isn't the actual. Yep. So what we got here, this is our live drone footage. You can see the overlay. We have some roads here. This is not the Vegas project that we're showing here, but this is a recent one for a high school project. We wanted to give you guys an example, but so this is a high school. There's a lot of complexity here at this high school. They're building on a new addition. We're bringing in panels, oversized trucks, and you see the driver has to go through this crowded parking lot, and you'll see that he has to do a very specific maneuver. And this was only discovered because we went to the job site, we made the time investment to understand the constraints, and then we shot this video and we made very detailed instructions here. And we ended up having to have them clear out a lot of these vehicles and some of the stuff that's in the way, because you'll see the driver has to do this maneuver where he's gonna pull into this lot and end up backing into this alleyway. So there's a 0% chance, Dave, that this would have been done right the first time if we did this. It would 0%. Someone would have had to walk out, correct the driver, figure out what they're doing. So even if the driver showed up on time, by the time he got back in, he would have been late.
Yeah.
So when you see this is a
do that 300 times, then you got a problem.
Right. Exactly. And which is why we always try to keep a small rotation of drivers too, so that after they've seen the job site, they know the drill. But see how narrow this little drop-off hall? Basically, it's a little driveway. That's where it's going to get picked from. You see some heavy equipment. You see the building being built right there. So again, there's no chance that would have been done right properly if we didn't make that time investment. Mm-hmm. So that's the type of thing we would do to ensure project success.
So if I'm the owner, I'm getting videos like this from you showing me exactly how the operation is going to happen.
Yes. Again, that's the confidence transfer we're trying to complete. Mm-hmm. Okay, then it's about pricing here. How are we going to execute this? And then what is that going to cost? Everything here, we always try to give it an all-in. We're not going to be breaking out a ton of little details where they're going to have to do some math. It's just flat, $750 all in per load. And if you see here, we have two different prices, one for flatbeds, one for over-dimensional flatbeds. This project happened to have, they were mostly over-dimensional, but also some legal loads. And if you see here, these flatbeds are hyperlinked. We built a tool to help our clients visualize this equipment. Not everyone's as familiar as us with the equipment and why we use specific equipment. So this hyperlink will take us to a trailer reference guide that we built for our clients and for us internally as well. But you can see here, we had visuals made for every single trailer type and their dimensions, what they're commonly used for, and then cargo maximums. So these help us outline what type of cargo can fit on these trailers and what cannot. So for example, if we look at a step deck, that's going to have a different look. It's going to have different capabilities. RGN would provide some, a different set of capabilities. So we built this for our clients to make sure they can understand and visualize why we're choosing the trailers we're choosing.
Impressive.
What you might also notice here is cargo insurance will always let you know what the default cargo insurance is for the load. It gives us an opportunity to make sure that that's covering the full value of the product. And if we have to go up, we have mechanisms to do that very seamlessly. We've insured loads up to $10 million for a single load. So it's the loads are always in good hands as well.
Carson, let me ask you something on the carrying beds.
Yeah.
Modulars use a different bed. They're not using your typical, flat bed. They usually have their own carriers, and you have the capability of taking those as well, correct?
Yeah. So what you're talking about likely is a toter truck, and those are commonly used more in the single-family residential modular space. They have their benefit. They're lower cost to operate. One of the drawbacks is there's usually a tighter delivery radius because they're made more for day trips, that type of model. And that's something we're familiar with. But to be honest, we add more value in this more complexity with the tractor or trailers where there's more nuance required, and there's also different strategies required to put in place. The toter model works really well in a smaller radius, and it's probably the best solution. But for those trying to go to longer radiuses, and they think that they want to expand their business, considering tractor trailer models will certainly open up what their capabilities are.
Okay, perfect.
One other thing I want to point out here, you see that on these overdimensional loads, it's noted that the permits are required for the width. You can see here it's 9 feet wide. Legal width is 102, so we're at 108, we're going to be wide. But we also built a tool here. It's really helpful. We put a lot of work into this. I'd love to talk about it, Dave, but you'll see here that here's the lane, Phoenix to Vegas. We put in the dimensions, and what we get is an exact route guide of where it's going to go and all of the permitting required. You can see in Arizona, this is going to require a permit. It will not require a pilot car. And in Nevada, same thing, a permit. So essentially what we've done here, Dave, is we've consolidated something that's very complex. Every state has different requirements and different limitations for oversized freight and heavy haul freight. And it's all based off of the state's infrastructure. Certain states can easily accommodate things that are wider, taller. Some states there's more complexity involved. So all the regulations are different. So when a driver has an overdimensional shipment, they have to figure out that whole route, what all the requirements are, and get permits for each state and understand, do I need a pilot car? Do I not? What's going to be involved here? And that has ramifications on transit times and equipment types, and just for central planning in general. So what you can see here, for example, in Arizona, if this load was 11 feet wide, we would have required a pilot car. We've all seen those on the highway. They got this oversized load. It's usually a pickup truck or a car. It says oversized load, and it either leads or trails the truck to warn drivers on the highway. So that would require different pricing and a different transit structure. So knowing all this is very important. And we've gone through the detailed work of consolidating all the requirements from every single state and putting them in a normalized database so that we can algorithmically know that if you're going from point A to point B, what states you're going to pass and what's going to be required in every state. That just helps us stay organized, helps our carriers stay organized. And then there's a level of assurance from our clients that we know what we're doing, but also there's a level of education there they can obtain.
Yeah, and this is a lot of data that you have gone out and researched to put into your system.
Yeah, we spent over 250 hours just on compiling the database. So scraping the data from every single state's website. Some of it's in, narrative form in 3 or 4 paragraphs to explain the regulations. Some of it's more in a table, but we had to normalize a table that works for a single algorithm. So it's a really good undertaking from our development team. We always staff developers on our team because we're always on the forefront of technology, but usually we want to make sure that technology is leveraged for advantage to our client and to automate our back end, to free up our people to make sure we can be adaptive and communicative on the front end. It's not to replace our front end interaction, it's to free up people to be the front end interaction.
Yeah.
All right. So after we move on from pricing, this is something that's very critical for everyone, tracking and visibility. How do our clients know where trucks are and are confident that the progress of the project is proceeding the way we want? So obviously we have an opportunity to push tracking updates to our client. Here's a sample where clients can get push daily updates or frequently or infrequently as they want. But I think an even more useful tool is our project portal, which I'll take you to. So what we see here, Dave, is this is the central hub for all the information regarding the project. A quick snapshot of how the progress of the project is going. So we have, you can see easily here that we've already delivered 172 shipments out of the 338. We know that we have 2 in transit, and we know we have 164 still to go in the project. So it's just a snapshot of how the progress of the project is going.
Well, and then you can use that towards your Gantt chart to
Exactly.
gauge the timing of your project. Are you falling behind or are you not? Just from the logistics side, you could see if you're gaining speed or falling short, for sure.
Yeah. In fact, we've integrated this with our clients' Gantt chart in the past too, where they embedded in here, so they always have it a view. So that's a great point. You get to see what's happening every day. So today on the 8th, we got 3 loads picking up. So you can hover over each one of these bars and it shows this was picked up at 8 a.m. This was picked up at 6 a.m. This is scheduled to pick up at 11 a.m. local time. So you can see what's happening today.
How does that information get into the system? How do you know when a truck is picked up and when it has left the yard to make its delivery?
So it all starts with the GPS. Real-time GPS tracking with geofence technology. So we know where they're supposed to be, when they're supposed to be, and we can see when they cross that geofence. So then it's triggered to know that we're there, but it's a trust but verify process. So we make sure people call in and check in with the driver too, because just because they're on site doesn't mean they found where they need to pick up, doesn't mean they're backed in at the time. So it's a trust but verify process. So our team calls every single time when we're expecting delivery. We'll call ahead of time to make sure they're on pace so that if there's any delays that can be communicated. But a lot of this is triggered by the automated updates triggered by GPS. And those that aren't are updated manually by our team to make sure everything's updated in real time. One thing you'll notice here, also triggered by those geofences, Dave, our on-time performance. We want to hold ourselves accountable to the commitments we make to our clients. So we can track the on-time pickups, on-time deliveries. So we know when they're supposed to pick up, when they're supposed to deliver. We know those geofences, and so that can be confirmed to make sure that our clients have confidence in what we're doing and make sure we're being held accountable. We also have opportunities for delivery notifications. These can be sent to anyone on the team, including different stakeholders. At the general contractor or project managers. They could get text notifications or emails based off of, when a truck delivers. With contact information and nice pictures of our team that's managing the project. And then this is really cool, Dave. This is something we've invested in. We partnered with TrueLook, which is a security camera company for the industry. They do a great job in the industry. And we noticed a lot of our clients were using these. So we invested in one for those who don't have access to it. It's a full 4K security camera that has cell data connectivity to have live feed access to the job site. So we could set this up where the trucks are pulling in so they can see the trucks pulling in and out, see the flow, but also we can set it up to see where the progress of the building is, which makes for a really cool time-lapse video at the end of the project that they can use for marketing or to commemorate that project and leverage that project and the success of that project into another win. So that's a great capability we can offer our clients. We do a lot with video. That's why we have a full-time videographer. Everything we capture out in the field, there's an opportunity to turn that into marketing assets for our clients. So we love to hand that over, sometimes in a finished product, sometimes in just like a B-roll product.
Sure.
But yeah.
How do I know my product made it to the site not damaged?
So you'll be notified so in our delivery process, if there's anything that occurred that unexpected, there's an opportunity to flag that. And that's when we bring it up. And usually those are usually made phone calls really quickly. we'll get it from the general contractor, the driver, something, and we'll get notified about that. And then it's important to investigate why it occurred. If we just assume something happened during transit, there's less to be learned than if we look at it and see if there's anything we could do with the packaging, anything we could do with the securing to make sure that in the future we can avoid that. So that's definitely part of our process as well.
Got it. All right. Is there more on that?
No more on that.
So let's take a minute and say hi to a few people and see who's out in the audience. Take some comments and questions. We're at about 48 minutes and having a great time today on Wednesday. Let's see who is out there. Hey, Mark, Bare Naked Willie, Stream Logistics, welcome to the show. Thank you, Ben Hershey, for the sponsorship. Yeah, definitely. We love Forward Solutions Group, Ben Hershey and Joe Butler. I think I seen Joe in the comments here somewhere as well. All right. Gilbert Meyer says, I have worked with Stream Logistics. Good service, quick and professional.
Thanks,
MMC3, good. There you go, all the way in Honduras. But Gilbert and them are doing some projects up here in California right now. So good to see you, Gilbert. All right. Moving down the line. Yeah, I thought I saw this guy. Joe Butler.
Yeah,
What's
Joe.
happening, Joe? Forward Solutions
Hey, Joe.
Group. If you don't know Joe and Ben, they have been sponsoring us, so I always like to give double the shout outs to those who support us. So what's up, team Stream and the Coopers? Good to see you. All right, this is a LinkedIn user. It says the trip to Tampa was a budget saver. Let me see if I can find that. Eric Marshall. Eric needs to change the setting in LinkedIn to let third-party devices show his face there. But Eric Marshall, the trip to Tampa was a budget saver. You know Eric?
I know Eric. He was there on site. Yep. We had to do a lot of adaptive things out there, and it ended up working out really well. We're still in touch with Eric. He's moved on from that company, but he's still in the industry. We work with them.
Eric, put some more on there. Yeah. So Eric said 150 loads from Phoenix to Tampa without a flaw. 150 loads. Well, there you go. Hey, the best testimony you can get is the people that are on the other hook if things don't go well. Right?
Exactly.
Right. So if that person that's on the hook and it doesn't go well, I think is what you want to have out there for sure from everybody. All right. Henry Mickelsberg says, let's see. I didn't read his. I should always read his first. Viz top tip. If you got a volumetric prototype, transport it to the job site ASAP to dry run logistics and record any transportation defects. Most defects occurred during transit. Adjust production units accordingly. What's your thoughts on that?
We've done it. So we have a lot of, especially panel companies, when they're trying out new things like an exterior facade or adding windows, they definitely want to test that. And we can put some vibration detectors on there as well, so that I could actually see max vibration, the peaks of vibration. And we've done that often. It's very smart.
Oh, yeah. All right, listen, everybody. We are live right now, so please hit that like and share button. And if you are not following Stream Logistics and Carson Holmquist and his team, you're wrong. You should be following them. They are changing the way things are happening. So, Carson, let me ask you this last question. What can I expect from an ROI with using Stream Logistics, right? This is what it all comes down to.
Yep.
It's saving me time. Is it saving me money? Is it saving me sleepless nights? Is it allowing me more time down at the Tahiti Beach Bar? What is the ROI?
All of the above. But more specifically, it's avoiding casualties of bad planning. So at the end of the day, even if a truck is 1 hour late on a job site, that can cost thousands of dollars in lost productivity. It can have permanent damage to the timeline. And both of those affect reputation as a manufacturer and hinder your ability to work with that same general contractor again on a future project. So at the end of the day, we're protecting brands and we're advocates for the brands. We get excited when they have a win. We know how much work goes into it. By the time we get involved, there's been 2 years of work to win that project. So we celebrate it and we take it seriously that we are honored to manage the logistics.
Yeah, and that, there you go. So this isn't like a 1 day sales cycle for you or business development cycle. You're involved in the planning as early as they'll possibly let you be involved, is what I'm hearing.
Correct. Yeah. Ideally, at the point in which they're scoping the logistics to add that to their bid, that's the right timing to make sure that pricing is accurate, so that they can get a competitive bid in, but also so that when the project starts, they can stick to the budget. But really, we can jump in any part of the process, and we'll find a way to make it work.
Outstanding. Outstanding. Greg Ugaldi in the house from Twitch. What is happening? Great information today, DC Live and Carson. Not sure. Do you know who Greg Ugaldi is?
I do not.
Oh, Greg, we haven't reached the world yet. Greg Ugaldi is the immediate past chair of the National Association of Home Builders. He is still traveling as the chair right now. It's as high as you go. He updates all the politicians to include the president a few times a year on the housing market. And he does amazing things for our industry, even in the offsite industry. And I say even in, Greg's really grasped a hold of sharing the knowledge and what's going on and being part of our discussion. And Greg comes on our show once a month to give us industry updates, which is great. All right. Peter Molliner says proper planning prevents problems. It's the 5 Ps, right?
That's
I'm
right.
not going to say it on the show, but I could. Oh, Danny Small in the house. What's up, Danny? Haven't seen you in a while. Dan, I don't even know what you are anymore. You're a 6 Sigma black belt, triple Taekwondo, lean certified consultant in the industry. No, I'm kidding. But Danny is. He's a consultant in the industry in the offsite world. Danny knows his stuff. Danny, you guys should probably talk. He says, hey, Dave, great undeserved topic. It is. We need to change things and how we're doing it. And every little piece of the pie, every little piece, not only from lean processes within the manufacturing facility, all the way to distribution, add up. You put all of these little savings and, you cut out some of the nuances, like somebody having to back up their truck 500 times on a job site with 2 spotters. You cut those out, and it adds up to a lot of savings for somebody on site. Is that an accurate comment?
Accurate. Yep.
Yeah, you're a piece of the puzzle that I think people believe they have figured out. But my guess is, and from seeing it as well on job sites, it's not really figured out. It's always just been an accepted, this is how we always do it type comment, right? And
that's
is there
right.
a better way? And we're showing you, right? But that's how we've always done it. Not anymore. Not anymore.
I wouldn't even say we've got it figured out, but we're figuring it out, and we're committed to getting better all the time. So we love working on projects because we know the next one we do will be even better.
Yeah, it will get better. And the more people we have like yourself and your partners and your team at Stream Logistics, rethinking how we're doing this, using today's technology to build in efficiencies, because that's what you're doing. You're building in efficiencies, which builds in safety, which reduces liability, which reduces job site accidents, and all these other things. In offsite construction, you just cannot look at the piece of the puzzle. You have to look at the longevity of the project to include liabilities, insurance, overhead headaches, and, I go all the way out to, service work. After the project's over, all of these things add up. And this is just a piece of that puzzle that makes a difference that adds up to big differences. I love it. I love it. He says, so there you go. Danny says, thanks. Let's talk, Carson. There you go.
Sounds good.
All right, listen, Carson, we are at our mark, man. What is one thing you want to leave us with? I mean, I'm going to give you 2 minutes here or a minute, whatever you want. If, like I said, why am I calling Carson? Let's talk. Other than you're a young guy, you got a beautiful head of hair, which we all wish we had at my age. Outside, you're going to save me money. You're going to save me headaches. You're going to take some headaches off my plate that I didn't know I had. But you're going to, there's all kinds of things here. Leave us with your one thing. Why Stream Logistics?
Well, I would say a reason why to contact us is you're going to learn something. So we geek out about this industry and about innovators. So reach out to us. If nothing else, you're going to learn how to do some things even better. Even if you like your current partner, maybe it'll reveal something that maybe you need to challenge them to do even better. So whether we win the business or not, we love having the conversations. You'll probably extract something out of the conversation. So we'd love to connect. Good place to start is our website, streamlogistics.com. You can chat with us there. You can find a way to, you can call us, reach out via email, and we love to hear from you. This industry is fun and exciting. It's full of innovators, and it really gets us excited to create the solutions we do every day.
Yeah, well, I mean, isn't that the truth? So, Carson, I'm glad we had an opportunity to have you on our show. We look forward to continue following you on your journey as you're doing this. I know more and more people are looking into what you guys are offering. From my perspective, I think it's absolutely brilliant. I think it's something that more people need to be looking at. And I think it's going to be the way of the future moving forward. There's no getting around it. Logistics is getting harder. Right? The jobs are getting more complex, but there's tools and people that know how to use those tools to take those problems and take those complexities and simplify them. And that's what you guys are doing.
Yep. I appreciate the platform. I mean, it's a fun, exciting industry to be a part of, and you're certainly making an impact. You seem like the main educator, and we love tuning in, and I've enjoyed hanging out with you today.
Yeah, well, we enjoyed having you as well. Give a quick shout out, Dean DeLillo. His concern is not having your own trucks. Is that a concern?
We don't think it is. So there's pros and cons, certainly. Having your own trucks, one of your biggest constraints is going to be capacity. At some point, you get tapped out. There's radius concerns. You have to figure out how to get your trucks back. So we have an infinitely scalable suite of partner carriers. We can always add more, but we're very selective on who we work with. We rate
Go ahead. Sorry.
We rate every carrier internally based off the experience we've had with them. We check them, from a safety standpoint, they're thoroughly vetted. So we make sure they're a good representation of us, which in turn is a great representation of our clients.
Well, and that is it. And you have a process that's digitally mapping, geofencing, and the truckers that you're using and the trucking logistic companies that you're partnered with are helping you be successful. And I think a lot of people have to understand that. And that's why I put that up there, because we had this conversation weeks ago.
Yeah.
And it makes perfectly good sense, right? You can't just carry that overhead because your projects are all over the place. You're not going to send trucks from Phoenix to, Pennsylvania to pick up loads. You need those particular companies in those areas that are part of your process, part of your training, part of your culture, and part of understanding what is acceptable and what's not. And that's how you guys are doing this. So it's not just hire somebody. There's training involved. There's vetting involved. And I think that's what a lot of people have to understand with this. And this is why you guys are doing this all over. So
that's right.
Love it. All right, Carson, I hope I said that right for you. If I didn't, correct me.
Oh, we're going to hire you, Dave. You nailed it.
Well, I'm understanding it like everybody else as I have these conversations. So, all right, everybody, if you are not following Carson, please go there and follow him. If you are not subscribed to our YouTube channel, go there and subscribe now. We are getting over 100,000 minutes a month watched. I love it's minutes. I could break it into hours. I should do the division sometime. But I can tell you this, it's being watched 24/7 now. If you want to find out more about what's happening in our industry in the offsite world, check it out. If you want to see our review that we just did, Jennifer and I did our house review on the Casita model of Boxable. Go check that out. It's getting a lot of views and it's getting a lot of press that's running around out there. Carson, thank you so much. Everybody else out there, you need to join us Friday with the Mark Bare Naked Willie for BS Friday, Building Science Friday. We are having the good folks back on from 475 for round 2. So you do not want to miss it. We always have a great time. Carson, don't go anywhere. I'll come back to you after the show. Everybody else out there, have a wonderful afternoon, and we'll see you Friday. Bye now.